Dr. Olivia Wright stared at her computer screen in the dim light of her NASA lab. The strange radiation patterns from beyond Neptune had appeared again. For 3 weeks now, she had tracked these unusual signals. They were not random. They showed patterns that suggested intelligence. She reached for her phone. "Director, I need to show you something. The signals are back. And they're stronger." 2 hours later, the lab was filled with NASA's top scientists. They all agreed something was coming toward Earth. "We need to call the president," the director said, his voice shaking slightly. 3 days later, Captain Jake Morgan stood in the Oval Office. At 42, Jake had seen many strange things in his years as a Marine and now as the head of Earth's small space defense fleet, but nothing had prepared him for this. "The object is slowing down," Jake explained. "It will reach Earth orbit in 2 days." The president nodded, his face pale. "And our options? We have 6 armed ships. They were designed to defend against missiles, not whatever this is. Let's hope they come in peace," the president said. On a clear morning in July 2035, the alien ship entered Earth orbit. It was small, only about twice the size of Earth's largest spacecraft. It glowed with a blue light that seemed to bend around it. Dr. Wright watched from mission control as the alien craft sent a message in perfect English. "Request permission to land. We come as representatives of the Galactic Confederation." The landing site was a flat desert area in Nevada. Jake Morgan stood with Dr. Wright and a team of scientists and soldiers as the ship touched down. A door opened, releasing a hiss of air. The alien that walked out looked almost like a tall human, except for its blue-tinted skin and large, dark eyes. It wore what looked like a uniform with symbols Jake didn't recognize. "I am Krell, diplomatic envoy of the Zorathi people and the Galactic Confederation," the alien said. Its mouth moved oddly with the English words, as if it had learned them recently. Dr. Wright stepped forward. "I am Dr. Olivia Wright. Welcome to Earth." Krell looked around, his expression showing what Jake thought might be disappointment. "Your world is quaint. We weren't sure if we should bother making contact, but our war has spread to this sector." "War?" Jake asked, stepping forward. Krell looked at him with what seemed like amusement. "The Drax Empire has been at war with the Confederation for centuries. Nothing your primitive species needs to worry about directly." Jake felt his jaw tighten. "Primitive. No offense meant, Captain," Krell said, though his tone suggested otherwise. "But your species has barely managed to reach your own moon. You've only just developed fusion power. By galactic standards, you're still in your infancy." More aliens emerged from the ship. One, smaller than Krell, approached Dr. Wright with obvious curiosity. "I am Vix, science officer," she said. Her voice was softer than Krell's. "Your biology is fascinating." Krell waved his hand dismissively. "We need to establish monitoring stations in this sector. The Drax have been pushing into new territories." "And if we refuse?" Jake asked. Krell laughed, a sound like stones rolling down a hill. "Refuse? You misunderstand, Captain. We're not asking permission. We're simply informing you as a courtesy." Jake stepped closer to the alien. "This is our planet, and it will remain so," Krell said. "We have no interest in your world beyond its strategic location. The Confederation respects developing species, even ones as basic as yours." Vix interrupted. "Ambassador, they deserve to know more if the Drax might come here." Krell sighed. "Fine. The Drax Empire conquers. The Confederation protects. If the Drax come to your system, they will take what they want. We might prevent that if this sector remains important to us." "Might?" Dr. Wright asked. "Resources are limited. We protect what matters most," Krell said bluntly. "Vix will remain with a small team to establish our base. I have more important systems to visit." As Krell returned to his ship, Vix approached the humans. "He means no harm. The war has made many of our people cold. I look forward to learning about your world." Jake watched Krell's ship depart. "Something tells me we'll need to learn fast," he said quietly to Dr. Wright. "Very fast indeed." 6 months passed since the Zorathi arrived on Earth. Their base in Nevada grew from a small outpost to a complex of silver buildings that shimmered in the desert heat. Most humans still viewed the aliens with fear and distrust. A few, like Dr. Olivia Wright, worked closely with them. Vix walked beside Olivia through the lab they now shared. "Your people learn quickly," she said, watching a team of scientists study a piece of Zorathi technology. "Most species take years to understand even basic Confederation devices." "We're motivated," Olivia replied with a small smile. "Nothing pushes human progress like meeting someone who thinks we're primitive." Across the base, Captain Jake Morgan stood with Dr. Alan Caldwell, a military scientist with thick glasses and quick hands. They looked at a small fighter craft in a hidden hangar. "We've reversed engineered about 60% of their propulsion system," Alan said. "Their materials are beyond us, but the principles aren't as complicated as Krell suggested." Jake ran his hand along the smooth hull of the prototype. "How soon until it flies?" 2 weeks, maybe less." Jake nodded. "Good. I don't trust our blue friends, especially after what happened last week." What happened was simple. The Zorathi fleet in orbit had suddenly reduced by half. When questioned, the remaining ships only said they were needed elsewhere. Jake didn't believe this was the whole truth. In the Zorathi command center, Vix argued with her superior, Fleet Commander Zeril, who had just arrived from the edge of the solar system. "We detected a Drax scout ship," Zeril said coldly. "It approached the system but withdrew when it sensed our presence." "Then we should increase our defensive position," Vix replied. "Not reduce it." Zeril looked down at her. "Central Command has deemed this system low priority. The Drax are pushing hard at the Centauri front. We need ships there." "But the humans are barely space-capable," Zeril interrupted. "The Drax won't waste resources on them either." Vix's eyes narrowed. "You don't understand them. They're different from other developing species. Their neural patterns, their adaptability." "Your fascination with these creatures is noted, Science Officer," Zeril said. "But the decision is made." The next day, a shuttle descended from orbit. Ambassador Krell had returned, looking more tired than before. He called a meeting with Earth's top officials. "The war is not proceeding well for the Confederation," he admitted to the room of tense human leaders. "The Drax have developed new weapons technologies that we didn't anticipate." "How does this affect Earth?" the President asked. "It doesn't," Krell said bluntly, "except that we must withdraw more of our protective forces from your system." Jake stepped forward. "And if the Drax come here," Krell blinked slowly, "then you will likely be conquered or destroyed. I suggest you hope they don't notice you." The room erupted in angry shouts. Krell raised his hand for silence. "You must understand your place in the galaxy," he said. "You are simply not worth the resources to defend. The Confederation must protect systems with more advanced civilizations first." As the meeting dissolved into chaos, Vix pulled Olivia aside. "There's something you should know," she whispered. "A Drax ship landed in Siberia 3 days ago. Commander Zeril knows but doesn't consider it important enough to mention." Olivia's face paled. "They're making contact with Russia." Vix nodded. "The Drax see something in humans that my people are blind to. Their commander, General Vrak, has requested formal meetings with your Eastern powers." In a secret facility deep in the Siberian wilderness, General Vrak of the Drax Empire studied the humans before him. Unlike the blue-skinned Zorathi, the Drax had gray, armored skin and eyes that glowed faintly red. "The Confederation treats you like children," Vrak said to the Russian scientists. "We see your potential. Your species fights, adapts, survives against odds. The Drax respect this." He placed a small device on the table. "Let us show you what your Zorathi protectors have been keeping from you." The world changed quickly after the Drax made contact with Russia. Within 2 months, tensions between nations grew as Russia gained access to new technologies. The United States and its allies pressed the Zorathi for more advanced knowledge, but Krell refused most requests. Dr. Olivia Wright sat in her lab, studying brain scans from 20 different species the Zorathi had provided. She noticed something unusual about human neural patterns compared to the others. "Vix, look at this," she called to her alien colleague. "Our brains form new connections faster than any species in your database." Vix leaned closer to the screen. "That's not possible. The Minteri of Sector 7 are known for their adaptive intelligence." "Compare them," Olivia said, bringing up both scans side by side. "Humans adapt at nearly twice the rate." Vix blinked rapidly, a sign of surprise among her people. "This explains much. Your species evolved on a high-gravity planet with extreme radiation and biodiversity. You faced constant survival challenges. Most advanced species come from more stable worlds." Across the base, Jake Morgan and Dr. Alan Caldwell prepared for the first test flight of their hybrid fighter craft. It combined human design with Zorathi technology in ways the aliens had never considered. "The Zorathi build ships for efficiency," Alan explained as they walked around the sleek craft. "Humans build for maneuverability and surprise. This fighter can outfly anything in their fleet." Jake ran his hand along the hull. "How many can we build?" "With current resources, maybe 20 in the next month." "Not enough," Jake said. "But it's a start." In the Nevada desert, a flash of light announced the arrival of another Zorathi ship. Fleet Commander Zeril stepped out, his face grim as he approached the base. "The Drax have launched a major offensive in nearby sectors," he announced to the base leadership. "All but 2 of our ships must depart immediately." "You're leaving Earth defenseless," Jake protested. Zeril didn't even look at him. "This system has no strategic value to the Confederation." After the commander left, Vix sought out Olivia privately. "I'm staying," she said quietly. "Against orders." Olivia's eyes widened. "Why?" "Because my people are wrong about yours." Vix handed Olivia a small data crystal. "This contains classified information about both Zorathi and Drax technology. Information Krell would never share with primitives." Olivia took it carefully. "Why are you doing this? Your world has something unique. Your people think differently. You see patterns we miss, create solutions we would never consider." Vix lowered her voice. "The Drax know this. It's why they contacted your Russian scientists." On the other side of the world, in a laboratory beneath Moscow, Russian scientists worked alongside Drax engineers. General Vrak observed as they tested new weapon systems. "Your people learn quickly," he noted to the lead scientist. "Most species take years to grasp Drax technology." "We are motivated," the scientist replied. "The Americans have their alien allies. We need to match them." Vrak made a sound like grinding stones. A Drax laugh. "The Zorathi are not allies. They are arrogant children who believe themselves superior to all." He touched a control panel, showing a map of the galaxy. "My fleet approaches this sector. When we arrive, the Zorathi will flee." Back at the Nevada base, Jake Morgan stood before the President and Joint Chiefs in an emergency meeting. "We need to prepare for war," Jake said bluntly. "Not just between nations, but against whoever wins the alien conflict. Against beings with interstellar travel." One general scoffed. "That's suicide." Jake pointed to the prototype fighter outside the window. "We've improved their design in ways they never imagined. Dr. Wright has discovered that human brains process information differently than alien minds." Dr. Wright stepped forward. "I've been working with Vix on a neural interface that allows pilots to control ships with thought alone. Human thought patterns are uniquely suited to this technology." She turned to the group. "The Zorathi dismissed us because our technology is primitive. But technology isn't everything." The President looked troubled. "What are you suggesting?" "The Zorathi are abandoning us," Jake said. "The Drax are coming. I suggest we stop acting like primitives waiting to be saved and start acting like humans prepared to fight." As they spoke, long-range sensors detected a massive energy signature at the edge of the solar system. The Drax fleet had arrived. 1 year after first contact, Earth faced its greatest threat. The Drax fleet entered the solar system with 50 warships. The remaining Zorathi vessels flowed without firing a shot. "So much for our allies," Jake Morgan said bitterly as he watched the sensor readings from the command center beneath Nevada. The president's face appeared on the main screen. "Captain Morgan, you are now Admiral Morgan. You command all our space forces." Jake nodded grimly. "Thank you, sir. But 6 ships against 50. 7 ships, Vic said, stepping forward. "My scout vessel remains, and I have disabled its tracking system. The Confederation cannot order it to retreat." In the lab below, Dr. Olivia Wright and Dr. Alan Caldwell worked frantically. 20 test pilots lay on special beds, connected to strange helmets. "The neural interface is stable," Olivia reported, "but we haven't tested it in actual combat." Alan looked up from his computer. "We don't have time for more tests. The Drax will reach Mars orbit in 6 hours. Olivia touched the nearest pilot's shoulder. "How does it feel, Lieutenant?" The young woman smiled. "Like the ship is part of my body, Doctor. I think faster than the controls now." Upstairs, Jake studied the tactical display with Vix. "The Drax will expect us to defend Earth directly," he said. "They don't know about our new ships or the neural interfaces." "They will underestimate you," Vix agreed, "as my people did." Jake pointed to Jupiter. "We'll make our stand there. Use the Moon IO for cover and the radiation belt to mask our approach." As the small Earth fleet prepared for battle, the U.S. Defiant, Earth's first true warship, moved into position. Jake stood on its bridge, looking at his crew. "The aliens think we're primitive," he told them. "Let's show them how primitive humans fight." Near Jupiter, the Drax fleet moved with perfect formation. Their ships were dark gray with red lights pulsing along their hulls. On the command ship, General Vrak received reports. "Sensors detect 7 small vessels near the large moon," an officer reported. "Primitive designs, though some show Zorathi influence." Vrak studied the display. "The humans choose to fight. Interesting. Destroy them quickly, but capture 1 ship if possible. I want to study their tactics." The Drax ships moved toward Jupiter, their weapons charging. They expected an easy victory. What they got was chaos. The Earth ships moved in ways the Drax had never seen. The neural interfaces allowed human pilots to react instantly, making turns and maneuvers that seemed impossible. The U.S. Defiant fired first, its modified weapons cutting through a Drax cruiser's shields. "Impossible," the Drax weapons officer shouted as alarms rang through their ship. On the Defiant, Jake watched as his pilots executed the plan perfectly. "Scatter pattern Delta," he ordered. "Don't let them predict your movements." The Earth ships broke formation, each moving independently, confusing Drax targeting systems. 2 more Drax vessels exploded as Earth ships darted between them, causing them to fire on each other. "Their tactics make no sense," a Drax commander reported to Vrak. "They ignore standard combat protocols. They fly like animals." Vrak watched the battle with growing interest. "No, not animals. They fly like predators." For the first time, respect entered his voice. "These humans are not what the Zorathi described." The battle raged for 3 hours. When it ended, 8 Drax ships had been destroyed. The Earth forces lost only 2 vessels. As the Drax fleet retreated to regroup, Jake received congratulations from Earth capitals worldwide. But he knew the truth. "We surprised them," he told Olivia when he returned to base. "It won't work twice. They'll adapt." Olivia smiled. "So will we. That's what humans do best." On his command ship, General Vrak reviewed the battle footage. Instead of anger, he felt growing curiosity. These humans use Zorathi technology, but fought nothing like Zorathi pilots. They were unpredictable, creative, even reckless in ways that worked. "Send a message to the High Command," Vrak ordered. The Earth situation is more complex than reported. Request permission to offer these humans terms. His second-in-command looked confused. Terms? They're primitives who got lucky. Vrak turned to him, eyes glowing. Are they? Or have we and the Confederation both underestimated them? Either way, I want to know more about these humans before we face them again. The Drax established a forward base on Mars 2 months after the battle at Jupiter. They built quickly, their machines turning the red planet's surface into a fortress. Admiral Jake Morgan watched the satellite images with growing concern. They're preparing for a ground invasion, he told the world leaders gathered in the emergency command center. The Russian president spoke first. General Vrak has offered us special status if we surrender now. And you believe him? The U.S. president asked sharply. Jake cut in before an argument could start. The Drax are testing us, looking for weakness. If any nation surrenders, they'll know divide and conquer works on humans. Outside the command room, Dr. Olivia Wright and Dr. Alan Caldwell led a team testing the newest version of their neural interface. This time, they connected it to powered armor suits instead of spaceships. The response time is incredible, Major Lisa Chen said as she moved in the experimental suit. At 35, Lisa was Earth's top Special Forces commander, now in charge of the newly formed Planetary Defense Corps. Lisa lifted a concrete block that weighed over 500 pounds with ease. I can feel the weight, but the suit multiplies my strength by 10. Olivia adjusted some settings on her tablet. The neural connection allows you to move as naturally as your own body. No delay like traditional powered armor. Vix watched from the corner, her blue skin paler than usual from months without sunlight. She had not dared to go outside since being declared a traitor by the Confederation. The Drax ground forces use standard tactics, she told them. They expect enemies to follow the same military doctrines taught throughout the galaxy. Lisa smiled as she practiced combat moves in the suit. Well, we haven't read their textbooks. We'll fight our way. 2 weeks later, the Drax launched their first attacks on Earth. Their ships landed near major cities on every continent. They expected quick surrender from the primitive humans. Instead, they met Major Chen's forces, wearing the neural-linked powered armor. The human soldiers didn't fight in neat formations as the Drax expected. They used the terrain, set traps, and attacked from unexpected directions. In the forests outside Berlin, Lisa led a squad against a Drax landing party. The aliens had advanced weapons, but moved in tight, predictable patterns. They're fighting the last war, Lisa told her team through the comm system. They expect us to charge straight at them, like the Zorathi would. Instead, her troops separated, used the trees for cover, and struck from all sides at once. The Drax, confused by the tactics, fell back. Similar scenes played out worldwide. The Drax had superior technology, but couldn't adapt to human guerrilla warfare. They had studied how advanced civilizations fought each other in space. They weren't prepared for a species that had spent its history fighting on the ground. In his command center on Mars, General Vrak reviewed the battle reports with growing frustration and respect. These humans, he said to his officers, they don't fight like any species we've encountered. They should be easy to defeat with our technology, yet they keep surprising us. His second-in-command suggested, perhaps we should simply bomb their cities from orbit. Vrak shook his head. No, the High Command wants this planet intact. And besides, he added, I'm beginning to think these humans might be valuable allies if we can turn them. The turning point came when Major Chen's forces ambushed a Drax command ship that had landed near Sydney, Australia. Using their powered armor and unconventional tactics, they captured the ship intact, along with several Drax officers. When Jake received the news, he immediately called Dr. Wright. Lisa captured their command codes and communication protocols. Can you and Vix decode them? Already working on it, Olivia replied, her voice excited. The Drax encryption is complex, but different from what we expected. Their logical patterns are more rigid than human thinking. It might actually make their codes easier for us to break. Word of Earth's unexpected resistance spread through nearby star systems. The Confederation, which had written off Earth as lost, took notice. Ambassador Krell was ordered to return and investigate why this primitive species was performing so well against the feared Drax Empire. As his ship approached Earth orbit, Krell received the battle reports with disbelief. The humans had not only survived but pushed back Drax forces on multiple fronts. The species he had dismissed as barely worth noticing was now the talk of the galactic sector. Impossible, he muttered, watching footage of human soldiers in their powered armor outmaneuvering Drax troops. Simply impossible. 18 months into the war, Earth had become a serious problem for the Drax Empire. What they had expected to be a simple conquest had turned into a costly struggle. Admiral Jake Morgan's fleet had grown to 30 ships, all using the neural interface technology that gave human pilots an edge. In orbit around Europa, Jake's flagship U.S. Defiant led a surprise attack on a Drax supply convoy. The human ships darted between the larger alien vessels, their weapons finding weak spots that Drax engineers never thought needed protection. "Target their fuel cells," Jake ordered. "Then jump to Sector 4 before they can lock weapons." His crew, connected to their stations through neural links, responded instantly. The Drax ships exploded one after another as the Earth fleet vanished into the darkness of space. On Earth, Major Lisa Chen's ground forces had pushed the Drax entirely off the planet. Her soldiers used their neural-linked armor to outmaneuver the enemy at every turn. Now they were preparing for something no one had thought possible a year ago, taking the fight to Mars. "The Drax base has heavy defenses," Lisa explained to the Joint Military Command, "but they're designed to stop conventional attacks. We won't be conventional." In her lab, Dr. Olivia Wright worked day and night with VIX. Using the captured Drax codes, they had developed ways to hack into enemy systems. The rigid, logical thinking of the Drax made their technology vulnerable to human creativity. "They never expect us to try certain approaches because to them, it seems illogical," Olivia explained to a team of programmers. "That's our advantage." Ambassador Krell's ship entered Earth orbit with a full diplomatic delegation. The Confederation, seeing the success of humans against their common enemy, had decided Earth might be worth their attention after all. Krell walked into the United Nations building with none of his former arrogance. The human guards in their powered armor stood taller than him now, their suits incorporating both Zorathi and Drax technology. "The Confederation offers formal alliance," Krell announced to the assembled world leaders. "Full partnership status, not protectorate." Jake, who sat with the Joint Chiefs, could not hide his smirk. "A bit late for that, isn't it?" Krell's skin flushed a deeper blue. "I was incorrect in my assessment of your species. The Confederation recognizes its error." The U.S. President leaned forward. "And what do we gain from this alliance that we can't achieve on our own?" "Access to our technology, our worlds, our knowledge," Krell replied. Dr. Wright stood up. "You mean the technology you kept from us because we were primitive. We've developed our own versions now, often better than yours." She activated a hologram showing human neural patterns compared to various alien species. Humans evolved under conditions that forced rapid adaptation. Our planet has higher gravity, more radiation, and more biodiversity than most worlds that produced intelligent life. Krell stared at the display. "This explains much." While technically behind, Olivia continued, "Humans learn and improvise far faster than any known species. The neural interface technology works better with human brains than with any other species we've tested." Jake joined in. "My fleet has destroyed or captured 47 Drax vessels. Major Chen's forces have driven them off Earth entirely. We're preparing to retake Mars." Krell looked genuinely shocked. "With what army?" "With this army," Major Chen said, entering the room with 20 soldiers in the latest powered armor. The suits were sleeker than earlier models, with built-in weapons and stealth systems. "The Drax are adapting," Jake admitted. "But we adapt faster. Every time they change tactics, we counter within days. Krell finally understood. The species he had dismissed as primitive had turned their apparent weakness into strength. Without centuries of established galactic military doctrine, humans were free to innovate in ways neither the Confederation nor the Drax had considered. On behalf of the Confederation, Krell said, his voice formal, I officially apologize for underestimating humanity. Before anyone could respond, alarms sounded throughout the building. On the main screen, hundreds of Drax ships appeared at the edge of the solar system. They're throwing everything at us, Jake said, studying the tactical display. This is their last, desperate move to crush Earth before we become too powerful. The largest Drax fleet ever assembled was heading toward Earth. The battle for humanity was about to begin. The final battle for Earth began at dawn, the sky filled with flashes of light as ships fought in orbit. The massive Drax fleet, over 300 vessels strong, faced the combined forces of humanity and the small Confederation fleet that had arrived to help. Admiral Jake Morgan stood on the bridge of the U.S. Defiant, watching the battle unfold on the main screen. His neural link allowed him to feel his ship as if it were his own body. They're trying to surround us, he said. Standard Drax encirclement tactics. His second-in-command smiled. Good thing we don't play by their rules. Jake nodded. All ships, execute Operation Thunderbolt. The Earth fleet suddenly broke formation, each ship moving in a different, seemingly random direction. To the Drax, it looked like chaos. To the humans, it was carefully planned unpredictability. On Earth, Dr. Olivia Wright and Vix worked frantically in the main command center. The captured Drax codes had given them an idea so bold that even Jake thought it might be impossible. If we can access their command network, Olivia explained, we can disrupt their entire fleet's coordination. Vix's fingers moved quickly over the alien computer. The Drax never expected a species they considered primitive to understand their encryption. They haven't changed their core protocols in centuries. As they worked, Major Lisa Chen led her best team in a daring mission. Using stealth dropships developed with the new hybrid technology, they approached the Drax flagship undetected. Remember, Lisa told her soldiers through the neural link, we need to capture, not destroy. Get me to the main computer core. Their ships landed on the hull of the massive Drax vessel. Using tools designed to cut through alien metal, they created their own entrance. The Drax, focused on the space battle, never detected the small team of humans entering their flagship. Inside, the powered armor made Lisa and her team stronger and faster than the Drax guards. They fought their way through the ship, their tactics confusing the enemy who expected a frontal assault, not the quick, guerrilla-style attacks humans had perfected. Back on the Defiant, Jake received a message from Lisa. We've reached the computer core. Sending access codes now. Jake relayed the information to Olivia and Vix. You have one shot at this. Make it count. Olivia took a deep breath and entered the final command. Across space, the Drax fleet suddenly faltered. Ship after ship lost power to weapons and shields as the human-created virus spread through their network. It's working, Vix exclaimed. Their entire command system is compromised. On the Drax flagship, General Vrak realized what was happening too late. He rushed to the computer core only to find Lisa and her team in control. Impossible, he said, his red eyes wide with shock. How could primitives hack our systems? Lisa smiled inside her helmet. That's the thing about us humans. We're really good at doing the impossible. As the battle turned decisively in Earth's favor, Admiral Morgan led the Defiant directly to the Drax flagship. He needed to see this historic moment in person. Jake met General Vrak face to face on the bridge of the Drax ship. The alien commander had surrendered after seeing his fleet disabled by human ingenuity. Your species, Vrak said, is unlike any we have encountered. You were so far behind us technologically, yet you adapted faster than we could counter. Jake nodded. Humans have been fighting and adapting since we first walked upright. It's what we do best. 3 days later, representatives from Earth, the Confederation, and the Drax Empire met to discuss peace terms. For the first time in galactic history, a supposedly primitive world had changed the balance of power among the stars. A new galactic council was formed, with Earth given a prominent seat. Dr. Olivia Wright became Earth's first ambassador to the wider galaxy. Admiral Morgan led a new joint human-alien fleet, teaching other species the adaptive tactics that had proven so effective. Vix took a position as liaison between humans and aliens, helping both sides understand each other better. The neural interface technology was shared with peaceful worlds, revolutionizing how species interacted with machines. 1 year after the final battle, alien students began studying human history at a new academy on Mars. Their teacher, a young Zorathy, showed them images of Earth's rapid development. The lesson, she told her class, is never judge a species by their technology alone, but by their capacity to adapt and overcome. Humans were considered primitive until the galactic conflict reached Earth. Then they taught the galaxy what true advancement looks like. On Earth, children looked up at the stars with new understanding. The universe was vast and filled with wonders, and humanity had earned its place among the stars not through superior technology,